The holidays are supposed to be joyful, but for so many women, particularly young women, the holidays can be filled with guilt, with pressure, with anxiety to eat perfectly. And then when you mess up, you have to somehow make up for that overindulgence and you feel so badly about it. So, what if this year could be completely different? What if you could enjoy your food, have fun, and still feel free in your body? I'm Kim Gross, and I'm the host of Masks Off for People Pleasers and Perfectionists. Today, I have a guest with me, my niece, Lauren Francisconi. We are definitely going to bring so much value for how you can approach this holiday season differently.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So, Lauren is in training to be a registered dietitian. She's a nutritionist and she has helped me in so many countless ways. This girl has so much knowledge. She's awesome and she's passionate about what she does. So I'm going to ask you, Lauren, to share with the listeners a little bit more in your own words about your journey and about how you help people.
Thank you so much for all the kind words. I love having you as a client. So, a little bit about my journey to becoming a dietitian. Throughout my younger years and into my 20s, I suffered with a lot of GI issues, colonoscopies, endoscopies, pills, everything. And nothing really seemed to work or help me get better. So, I kind of fell into the functional world and worked with a functional dietitian, was able to do functional testing and figure out what the root cause of my problems was. Turns out I just had a lot of overgrowth and dysbiosis in my gut. Was able to heal it naturally with herbs and supplements, and I've been pretty good ever since. A few flare-ups here and there, but now I have the tools and knowledge to manage those. I'm currently finishing up my dietetic internship where I'm able to work with some of the best practitioners in the world, loving everything I've been learning. And come May, I'll be sitting for my RD exam, which I'm super excited to finally be done with school and get to fully practice and be able to order tests and everything.
Yeah. So your last rotation, you mentioned it, but maybe tell us a little bit more about that rotation at
Yeah.
the Ultra Wellness Center.
Yes, so I got the amazing opportunity to intern at the Ultra Wellness Center, which is Dr. Mark Hyman's practice. I was under the guidance of registered dietitians. My preceptor was Maggie Ward and Kathy Swift. She's a very well-known registered dietitian in the functional world space. Being under their wing, I was able to learn so much. Like just in 5 weeks, my knowledge expanded exponentially from gut health, hormone health, you name it, histamine issues. I found
Yeah.
out so many things and even was able to help myself, my aunt, and everyone that I've worked with.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited. I'm benefiting from all that you're learning. We talked about the histamines, and I also have the gut issues as well. But what I also want to say about you is that, like, I can just remember you having such a passion for eating healthy foods or creating these most amazing dishes. You would create them for me and Angela, my daughter. You just were so passionate about making them look amazing and tasting amazing. And I feel like you've been doing this for such a long time. I can just see your
Yeah.
passion in that.
I've always had a strong passion. Food is culture. I feel like every experience we've had, there's always food surrounding it. And I remember like me and Angela took cooking classes and seeing my mom cook growing up. And then you always had books and stuff, and I was always learning about like organic foods, anything with nutrition from a young age. Just always had such a passion. Also, Something besides my GI issues, another way that really drew me into this field was my mom was always overweight, and I always wanted to help her become healthy. Through all the knowledge, my mom has been able to lose 120 pounds naturally. So that was just a huge way that I could. And I've always wanted to help people, and this is my niche, helping people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is amazing. Your mom's accomplishment is fantastic. You had said something about food and culture and how they go hand in hand. What you and I wanted to talk about today is with the holidays coming around the corner, that it's always a time of struggle for many people. I know for myself in particular, I've always struggled around the holidays. I can remember when I was growing up, my mom and my grandmother were Italian. And so I can remember for 2 weeks before Christmas and then the week between Christmas and New Year's, there was this nonstop flow of cookies and desserts and food. My mother would make all these cookies and then stick them in the garage because it was always cold out there. So it was like this big refrigerator. And I just remember constantly going out there, grab a cookie here, grab a cookie there. On Christmas Day, forget it. There were so many desserts, not just one or two pies and a few cookies. We had like 10 cakes and cookies and pies, so much. And it all tasted so good. And I could not control myself. Inevitably, every year and well into my adult years, even as a mom, where all that food being around just would overeat and then feel so guilty for overeating, probably put on 5 to 10 pounds just over the holiday season, feel sick to my stomach from gorging so much, and never really being able to fully enjoy the holiday or enjoy myself because I was in my head eating compulsively instead of being in my body and feeling when I was getting full or just enjoying the people and being present. So I just always struggled so much. I literally would start to get anxious when I knew Christmas was coming because I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm going to be gaining 5 or 10 pounds. Was it ever hard for you?
Absolutely. I mean, Italian culture, I remember Mimi would always be like, oh, you need to eat more. My other grandma, everything was always eat, can't be like always giving food down your throat every 5 seconds. Eat this, Jeanette's all the time. And
It's
it's
like
just,
if you didn't eat when they said eat, manja, manja, manja. If you
yeah,
didn't,
you're rude.
you're rude. Like,
Yeah.
but no, I can't eat anymore. I'm gonna
Mhm.
bust, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely, I definitely struggled even from like Halloween on. And like as I got
Mhm.
into like college years, like, you would always go out, want to look good, and had that in the back of your mind. Being in New York, the weather got colder and you weren't really going outside as much anymore. All of those factors. I felt like with the perfectionism, the all
Yeah.
or nothing mindset, I would just be like, oh, well, just forget about it.
And then what? Like, forget about it and just blow out
Yeah,
the
do whatever.
diet.
If January 1st, I'll get back on track.
It's that binge restrict cycle, right? Because even for me too, I think it would start around Halloween with the
Yeah.
candy, right? Because I couldn't control myself around the candy either. And so I would just start binging from Halloween until probably a week after New Year's. And
hmm
then it's okay, now I feel disgusted with myself because none of my clothes are fitting and I feel so just bloated and terrible. So now we go into restrict mode and have to lose the weight. It's almost like we punish ourselves
Yep.
for allowing ourselves to have that overindulgence. So there's got to be something in the middle, and we'll talk about that shortly. Is there anything else you can think of in terms of how it was for you, like emotionally or mentally around the holidays, overate, or even in college, you said you would go out a lot. Was there anxiety around whether your clothes would fit or if you looked bloated?
Absolutely.
Let me to that for a
I
minute.
think when I was younger, my parents definitely gave me a very healthy relationship with food, so I don't really remember any negative things in my younger years. But when I started to really get the GI issues in college
Mm.
and started to like because I always wore a uniform growing up, so I feel like when I really got to wear my own clothes, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I look like in these? Before I didn't care, everyone was wearing the same thing. The bloating was really bad, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Even if I was eating very healthy, I was still so distended, looking 6 months pregnant by the end of the day. And that definitely hindered my emotions of going out. I most of the time didn't want to. I tried to not let it affect me, but it definitely did. I didn't want to take pictures. I
Yeah.
definitely gained a lot of weight just being in college.
I'm in 15.
I wasn't making the best choices with my eating habits, eating very late at night,
Mm.
binging, drinking a lot, so it all added up.
Hey, it's Kim here, interrupting your regularly scheduled podcast episode to let you know about an opportunity to go deeper into this work. I invite you to head over to Amazon.com and pick up your copy of my book, Free to Be A Pathway to Inner Liberation. If you are looking to unhook from people pleasing and perfectionistic patterns, if you're looking to have a better way of identifying your patterns and then how you can unhook so you can be free to step outside your comfort zone, free to have more meaningful relationships in your life, free to be your true self without hiding behind a mask any longer. If you desire any of this, then I encourage you to pick up your copy. And if you enjoy my book as much as I loved writing it, please go on over and leave a review on Amazon. You can leave a star review or written review. Now back to your regularly scheduled podcast episode. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important for us to have this conversation for anyone who might be struggling with body image issues and struggling with boundaries and how those two can collide during the holiday season. That's really what prompted us. You came to me and said, what if we did an episode on this? I think it's perfect because it plays into two things I talk about all the time, which are boundaries and perfectionism. People who are listening to this podcast are going to be listening because on some level they have those perfectionistic tendencies. And anytime we go into all or nothing, that's when we are being perfectionistic in our thinking. And that's when we get in this mental prison of, I have to do it all perfectly. And if I can't, then, fuck it, I'm not going to do it at all. It creates so much anxiety because I think as women, and maybe men do too, but I think more women tend to worry so much about how we look. It's this battle between perfectionism and then, now I look like crap and they get all upset about it. We talked about the body image pressure for sure, overeating and then the guilt from it, or even the guilt in saying no to the
Yeah.
people that are offering us food. What is wrong with you? Why aren't you eating more? Because I'm really full or I don't want more.
Yeah.
But again, along the lines of the all or nothing, so as we move now into some of the tools for how we can help the listeners to be more prepared for the holiday season. Like I said in the very beginning, how to be able to have fun and still enjoy the holidays, how to be present in your body.
Mm.
One of the things that you said to me before, and I know that I would do this too, if I knew I was going to go to a party, a holiday party or dinner, I would not eat all day long.
Yeah.
Like I would just save all of it for, allowing myself to eat whatever I wanted later on. But you were sharing with me that's not the best thing to
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
so we can talk about what are some insights or tips or tools that you can offer from a nutritional standpoint to
Yeah.
help people listening.
Absolutely. I'll be the first to admit I'm guilty of the same thing. In college, I wouldn't eat a lot before we would go out, or I knew I wanted to wear a certain outfit or look a certain way, and it's just horrible for your metabolism and everything. Yeah, so my number one tip would be to stop skipping meals. keep on track with your breakfast, lunch, and then go to the party. You know, if you just skip all these meals, you're going to have low energy, irritability, you're going to overeat later on. And you don't need to skip meals to save calories. If you're fully nourished during the day and going into the event, you're not going to feel the need to overindulge in all of the treats and items there.
You might
Yeah.
allow yourself to have a slice of cake or an extra drink, but you're not going to probably overindulge as much as if you didn't eat all day long, right? Because then at that point, you're starving. What are our bodies actually saying to us when we do that? When we don't
Yeah,
eat all day?
your body thinks you're in starvation mode, your blood sugar is all out of whack. It's just the hormones are so all over the place. Yeah, just focus on having a higher protein, high fiber breakfast and lunch. When you go into your event, just do your best to pick out foods. I'm not saying you don't have to eat sweets, just be mindful of your portions and enjoy those things with no guilt because it's the holidays. Food is comfort, food is social, and you should be enjoying this time with your friends and family.
Absolutely. When you said you just mentioned focus on having some healthy foods like proteins and the fats and things like that, but allow yourself to have some of the treats as well. I think one tricky danger zone and one that I have been guilty of for so long is to categorize foods as good or bad,
Yeah.
right? So if I go to a party and have a salad, carrots, celery, and a couple pieces of chicken, then I'm good. But if I go and I have the cookies or I have like 3 glasses of wine or something, then I'm bad. Right. So,
Yeah.
what do you have to say about good or bad foods? And how can we reframe that differently?
Yeah, no food is inherently good or bad. Keeping a very neutral mindset around food. I always think of addition instead of good or bad. What can I add to this plate to better nourish myself? Instead of restrict, what can I add to this piece of cake to bring more nutrients? Maybe that's some berries for some fiber or something along the lines of that, or adding some like nuts and berries so it's more of a blood sugar balancing treat instead of just the cake. But again, the cake alone is just fine. Again, just keeping that neutral mindset is key. It's hard. It takes a lot of practice. I'm not going to say it happens overnight, but
Mm,
just reminding yourself mentally it's okay.
yeah.
It's not good or bad.
I love that reframe though, is to just think about, okay, what can I add onto this plate? Right. And
Hmm.
it's not like, okay, I'm not adding something on because the cake is bad and I'm bad if I have the cake. So I have to add something good. But what can I add to this plate that's just going to give me a little bit more nutrition for my body?
Hmm.
So my body feels better
Yeah.
and it can kind of balance out the sugar from the cake. And I think that's the key, right? That's the key, even with anything that I teach, is about finding balance. So, balance is also another really important point to add in here. So, no foods are good or bad, adding in balance. And let's see, what else can we say?
I would say just try and be present when you eat.
Mm.
I mean, I understand like when we have holiday parties, there's food everywhere and it's easy to just stand there and pick around. But I would say like make a plate, like find somewhere to sit, really just sit down for your meal and be present when you're eating. That goes a long way because you can stay in tune with your hunger, check in at like 80% and figure out when you're full because it takes a little bit of time for your body to figure out that it's actually full. Take some deep breaths before you eat. I know these things are kind of hard and can take some time to adjust to, but they are very helpful. And also just like chewing your food when you're eating, put your fork down, fully chew your food to like an applesauce consistency. It really helps with your digestion. And again, just check in with your body, try to get in tune and really feel what's going on.
Okay, so that one must be a really important one because, as you know, right now I'm working with functional medicine through Parsley Health. Through that program, I meet with a regular clinician, like a medical doctor, but they also allow you to have a health coach as well. I've only met with her twice, and both times she could not stress anymore. Chew your food, 20 to 30 times, like you said, to applesauce consistency. Breathe before I start eating, slow it down, be mindful. She even went as far as saying, because I'm going to start a protocol soon for gut dysbiosis as well. I was talking to her about all the different supplements and the foods. She said, honestly, in terms of what you eat, she said, I'm really not as concerned with that right now. I am more concerned about you slowing down
Yeah.
and
Yep.
eating mindfully. She said, the connection between the gut and the brain, if your mind is anxious and going and you're uptight and nervous while you're eating, that's impacting your gut almost more so.
Mhm.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
That she's absolutely correct. And the same thing goes for if you're very anxious prior to eating, it can cause constipation. It's crazy how connected it is. Digestion starts in the mouth, so that saliva produces those enzymes. When you're barely chewing your food and swallowing it, you're missing so much
Mm.
important part of digestion, which can lead to the bloating, discomfort, gas, all of that. So definitely chew your food and eat slowly. Be mindful.
Yeah. So we know that the holidays are a time when we spend more time around families. And we also know that not all families are super healthy. In fact, a lot of families are dysfunctional and not healthy. For some people, especially young girls in their 20s who don't have a healthy relationship with their parents, but are spending the holidays with them and spending a lot of time around them, the anxiety can start the moment they wake up in the morning or on the drive over to mom and dad's house. The
Mhm.
anxiety can start to spike like, oh my God, I got to deal with my father. Is he going to start making comments about this or that? What is my mother going to do? Is she going to be uptight? There's all this rumination going on before you even get to the house and sit down to eat. So
Yeah.
again, just want to really put out there how freaking hard it is. We're not saying that this is easy peasy, just go do all these things. We recognize that it is super hard because these patterns have been building and intertwining for years. They're so deeply ingrained, and your nervous system is wired to be dysregulated around family, parents, or whatever in particular. It's not going to change overnight. So if you get to your parents' house and it's Christmas Day and dad starts in on his comments, or there's a fight between mom and dad, or awkward silence or tension, your body's going to notice it right away. Your nervous system's going to be like, what the heck? Wants to fight or flight or freeze. And it's then going to be hard once you sit down at the table with the food because now you're already revved up. And so Lauren and I are saying be present, be mindful, chew your food and everything, which is all very important. And we want you to do your best to do those things. And also, we want to say to you that if you can't, if you don't, if you mess up, if you shove your food in your mouth because you are just way too dysregulated, that it's okay. It really, really is okay. And the most important thing at that point is to give yourself so much freaking grace and compassion. The last thing you want to do is pile on all this guilt and added stress and make yourself wrong or make yourself bad because you didn't do what Lauren and Kim said to do. You couldn't when you overeat. And so we just want to recognize and acknowledge how hard it can be. Any thoughts on that, Lauren?
I would say the same thing. Just give yourself grace. It's not always going to be perfect. Control what you can control, but let the rest just be. It's the holiday. Just control what you can and what you can't. Just give yourself grace.
And let it go. That's a good point. It's the holidays, right? Someone's listening and they do struggle and they can't apply anything that we're saying here. For all I know, it could be me. I could be the one. who is struggling at the holidays and I overeat. But let's just say that the person's listening, they can't do this, they can't implement what we say, they overeat, they overindulge, they're feeling crappy, they gain some weight. One thing that I started to do for myself is this: if you look at the whole year, the holiday is maybe 20% of the year, the whole holiday season from Halloween until New Year's Eve. And it's the same thing, like even when we're trying to just eat, it's that 80-20 rule, right? If you 80% of the time can be mindful, 80% of the time you can stay on track, or even 70-30, for God's sake. The point is just to put that into perspective so that, again, the person who's listening, we don't want you to beat yourself up.
Absolutely. Don't do that.
That is the key.
That's more harm than good. And
Right.
like stress to your body is stress. So it doesn't matter what you're stressing over, it's still stress. And that leads to a lot of GI issues as well.
Yeah. Do you have any tips that you use personally or that you've learned about for stress,
Yeah.
anti-stress techniques?
Absolutely. Every person is different with what's going to work for them. So I think you kind of have to experiment. Some people really enjoy journaling, some people enjoy running. For me, I think just finding some form of movement that I really enjoy. I like to go to Pilates. Additionally, working with my aunt, she helps coach me, so that helps a lot. If you do suffer from IBS and IBD, there's an app called Nerva. It's a hypnosis meditation app specifically designed for that. A lot of people have tremendous success with that because, again, the brain-gut connection, so it helps regulate that. Some vagus nerve techniques you can do. Humming before you eat is a good one.
True Vega that you told me
Yeah,
about.
Truvaga. This
Tell
is a
us what
device.
that's about.
Yeah, so it's a device that you put on your vagus nerve and it stimulates it. Some people find that having a device is more fun, so they stay more consistent with it, but it really helps regulate your whole nervous system. My aunt has it.
Yeah.
She can speak
Um,
on how the benefits
I
she's
haven't
seen.
used it a ton yet. I did just get it recently, but the few times that I have used it, I have noticed a measurable difference in terms of just feeling calmer for
Calm.
sure.
Yeah.
And it
People,
takes 2 minutes.
yes, and a lot of people do it right before they go to bed and they're just super calm. But additionally, I feel like another tip for navigating the holiday season, besides being present and everything, I think just focusing on like taking food away from the picture and trying to just focus on spending quality time with your friends and family and not having food be the center of every occasion. Obviously, it's a huge part. Maybe that's doing a game with the family or going outside for a walk after the meal. Anything to get everyone involved that's not centered around food is a great way to enjoy the holiday season without stressing.
Yeah, that's a really helpful one. And as you said that, I was thinking about Angela, my daughter, Lauren's cousin, best friend. Angela
Yeah,
loves to dance. So after dinner is a great time because you can start to move the food around and just do a dance
exactly.
party. But that, no, that is really important is to have activities as well to focus on and be present. At the end of the day, even though this one might be hard and difficult, if you don't have any fun or joy around the people you're with, whether it could be your friends, maybe you're with friends that drain your energy, all they do is complain, all they do is take from you. If you're around your family who is just so dysfunctional, so negative, and you end up feeling downtrodden after being around them, boundaries, set boundaries. Either make your time with them. If you feel like I can absolutely, there's no way in God's creation can I say no to my parents and not go to their house. If you're thinking that to yourself, how could I not spend time? Okay, I hear you. That's hard. With my mother, I couldn't say no. I did the cookie exchange for many years until I could finally say, Mom, no more. But if you can't say no completely, at least limit it, shorten your time. And if it's normally a 7-hour event, come up with a plan and just go for a couple of hours, or have an exit strategy if it gets stressful. Because at the end of the day, we only have this one life. Do you want to be spending your time making other people happy, putting them first, and making yourself miserable? You're not enjoying yourself at these events. And it's something to think about. I know it's a hard one because saying no, especially for someone who struggles with people pleasing, is almost like death to some, right? It can feel like death, like the anxiety that builds from having to say no. Can you imagine telling your parents, I'm not coming for Christmas this year? For some of us, it is so painful because the relationships are just not there. And the only reason we're going to these events is because we can't say no. We're so afraid of feeling guilty. We're so afraid of putting ourselves first. We're so afraid that mom's going to be sad and disappointed and dad's going to be going off the handle. That's about managing their emotions. But what about yours? I know it's a hard one and it takes time to unhook from that pattern, but I just want to put that out there. If there's any part of you that is ready or willing to start taking the steps to unhook from those patterns, and especially if you're in your 20s, I have a group. Lauren is a part of it. We meet once a week and talk about identifying these patterns and how they show up and the nuances of how they show up. Because the truth is, for many of us, myself included, for so long, I didn't know that it was a pattern. I just thought that's how I was. I just thought that was how everyone was. I didn't know that it was something I could do differently, and I wasn't even aware of how it showed up. So, one of the things we learned is how to be super aware of the patterns, how to take ownership for changing it, and then what can we actually do? How do we do the healing so we can unhook from the patterns? If you're interested in joining that group and you're between the ages of 22 and 30, then I invite you to reach out. You can go to my website, kimgrosscoaching.com. You can send me an email and let me know. Follow me on Instagram. You can let me know and DM me. If you're on YouTube, you can comment below and get hooked up with that group. If you're wanting to really deal with my gut issues, I feel bloated all the time, I feel distended, or I want to work on eating healthier and having more balanced meals, or you want to attack the way your hormones are showing up. Maybe you even have some histamine issues as well, and you are wanting to work with someone that is incredibly knowledgeable on this. Lauren is your go-to. Lauren, let the listeners know how they can connect with you and what you offer.
Yeah, thank you. So if you're ready to unlock your potential, you can connect with me on Instagram. It's Losowell, Losowell, or you can send me an email, lauren@losowell.com. Either of those ways work.
And I'll have that information in the show notes so you don't have to worry about writing it down. You can just go and check that out. And then I think that I'll just end by saying that this holiday season, we encourage you to choose presence over pressure and nourishment over numbers because you deserve to feel free. So, Lauren, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. I love doing this with you.
So thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Kim Gross here. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Masks Off for People Pleasers and Perfectionists. I invite you to hop on over to my website, kimgrosscoaching.com. Right there on the front page, there's a quiz for people pleasers and perfectionists. You can find out if you have tendencies. You can Also, get into my newsletter where you will be given valuable content every week on different topics I share here in the podcast. And if you really did enjoy this episode, if you found it helpful, if you found it valuable, please go to, if you're on YouTube, go and subscribe. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, then I invite you to leave a review. You can even do a star review. It doesn't have to be a written review. If you know of someone who can benefit from this podcast or this particular episode, please share it with them. I'll see you next time.